The problem, I'm sure we all have experienced a weak cellular data signal or voice signal at one point or another. Some of us may have already even experienced that today. It's a very common issue. As cellular is becoming more and more needed and more a big part of our day and beyond just the cell phone, having reliable cellular connectivity is critical. So when we are experiencing weak signal, right, you're going to have the dropped calls, you're going to have those dead zones when you're on the road. Maybe you just live in a valley or right up next to a mountain where you have no signal. If you have a weak signal, you might just experience poor signal quality. Maybe you're connecting, but you're getting a weird echo, or maybe they can hear you, you can't hear them. Or maybe you're trying to Google something, find an address of your customer, and you're on the road and you're trying to get to your client's address, and you can't pull up Google Maps or something like that because the data speeds are so slow. When we talk about this problem, right, and we think, okay, well, what causes the weak cell signal? Most people automatically just default, I'm just far away from the cell tower, or my carrier sucks, they don't work. I need to switch from AT&T to Verizon or vice versa. Really, the carriers up to this point have done a pretty phenomenal job of providing their coverage over the majority of the United States. They do a very good job at that. Now, there are impediments to signal that are natural obstructions, mountains, trees, just the topography of the country. Obviously, that's going to block signal, and certain rural areas may not have as much coverage. But for the most part, there's pretty good signal. What we are finding is the biggest reason for weak cell signal for a customer in a building is due to the building materials. Especially as we are getting into more and more energy efficient buildings. They have low E glass, radiant barrier lining. They might have, here in Minnesota, you guys might have, metal roofs, things like that. All of those materials block the cell signal from getting in. So when you think of a cell tower that's pumping up cellular signal at a high output power, having trouble getting that signal into your building, by the time your phone receives it, it might be pretty weak. But what a lot of other people don't consider is that a cell phone is bidirectional communication. So now your phone has to send that signal back through those same RF blocking materials and over that same distance to the cell tower at a much lower output power. And so a lot of times, we kind of joke about 20 years ago, it used to be when the phone rang, you would have to run inside to answer it. Now when the phone rings, you're going to have to run outside to answer it to make sure you have enough signal. If that's something that you guys have experienced, your customers are experiencing it as well. So that's just one thing we want to point out, both in the residential and commercial space, that a lot of times there's probably usable or pretty good signal outside, but a customer has no signal in their home because of the building blocking it. And the solution for them isn't switching their carrier necessarily. Going from carrier A to carrier B will likely experience a very similar situation. And so that's where our products come in. So what are you guys doing right now to fix your client cell signal? When we talk about our solution, we are, when we talk about our competition, I should say, our competition isn't another signal booster manufacturer. I've already told you we hold 75% of the market, right? Our competition is two things. One, it's awareness. Most people do not know a solution exists to solve their cell phone signal issues. And then two, apathy. Most customers just think, oh man, my signal sucks. Man, this sucks. I just got to deal with it. And they don't do anything about it. They just think, hey, this is how it is. They're too lazy to try and find an alternate solution, or they just don't think there is one. And so it's the awareness and apathy. And that's where you guys come in. This is a great solution for you guys to one, meet a need that is very, very there, but a need that most people don't know about. And so that's our challenge, right? You're already in a customer's home. You're already sitting there working with them. You're mounting TVs. You're doing high-end audio systems. And it's a simple question. Hey, I noticed your cell signal's not good. Would you like me to fix that for you? That question right there can ultimately help overcome those two challenges of, one, raise awareness that, oh, you can do that, you can fix my cell signal, and two, now they have a professional installer in the home that's able and willing to integrate that solution for them, and they don't have to do anything other than provide the means to do so. And so when we're talking about that problem of weak cell signal, poor data speeds, drop calls, poor signal quality, the solution to that is a Wilson cellular amplifier. Right here, I got a new product that we have, is our Pro 1100, which I'll go into in just a little bit, but a product that we're really excited about. So how a Wilson system works, I'm not aware of how many of you have already done our product, how many are you familiar with our products, but from what I've seen, people who are new to our solution, they hear cellular, they hear amplifier, or they hear booster, and their minds kind of instantly go blank. They're like, no, that's out of my comfort zone. I don't do anything cellular. I believe the same was, with networking, right? As that started making its way into the residential AV and commercial AV world, a lot of people got kind of scared and wary of it. Ultimately, our solution is very simple and straightforward. There's three main components as outlined here. So the first one is an external donor antenna. This antenna would be mounted on the outside of a building or residential application. We have a couple different styles of antennas, but ultimately you have an antenna outside, and that is communicating to and from the cell tower. It's picking up that existing ambient signal. Now, that is the only requirement for our product to work. There needs to be some signal outside of the building. As long as there's some signal, we can pick it up and amplify it. The more you get in, the more you get out, and vice versa. And so as long as there's signal, you would mount an antenna outside. You run coaxial cable into the building and connect it to an amplifier. The amplifier just plugs into power. There's no need to connect it to your client network. It doesn't require any internet connection. And then from that amplifier, you would run cable to an inside server antenna. And that inside antenna will then retransmit the amplifier signal within the building. And as you can see here on this diagram, here on the second floor, we're showing another antenna. Depending on the application, these products can be scaled up, and you can have multiple inside antennas driven off an amplifier to distribute that stronger, more reliable signal throughout a larger space, allowing for better connectivity and seamless connectivity as you move throughout the structure. And so three simple components: outside antenna, amplifier, inside antenna, all connect with coaxial cable. So when you're thinking about, all the other things that you're installing in a home, the hardest part of the installation ultimately comes down to just the cable management. And you guys are professionals when it comes to running and mounting cable, right? So it's a very seamless integration for you. It goes right into what you guys are doing, and it's a new value-added solution. One thing I want to mention about this, I had talked about the signal being blocked by buildings, right? And the cellular communication being a two-way street. Our systems are bidirectional, so it will then take the signal from your phone or your device and amplify it back to the cell tower at a higher output. So some of the benefits here is it allows you to be further away from the cell tower and maintain connectivity, but also now your phone does not have to work as hard to transmit that signal back, which can help save your battery life by up to 30%, since it's no longer having to work so hard just to stay connected to the cell tower.